Hey guys, it's Cam, and today I wanted to try something a little bit different. So as you can see, got a little setup going on, like nighttime. Got my sweats and stuff on. It's actually almost 12 o'clock, so we're gonna call this Late Night Talks with Cam. Basically, I'm just gonna be giving you guys information that I wouldn't do in like a regular video. Like it's gonna be all information, no tutorial, just all information. But it's like good information, so I suggest that you watch it all the way through. And if you want to skip to any parts or rewind to any parts, I'll put times somewhere on the screen right now. So today I'm going to be talking about breakage and how to avoid it and what the causes are and the types of breakages and all of that. So let's get started. But first off, just a little disclaimer. I'll put it somewhere right here. Yeah, alright, so let's get started now for real. Breakage is defined as the act of breaking something that has been broken or lost or damaged as a result of breaking. But to define the word without using the word within the definition, we have to define the word break. So break is defined as separation into parts, i.e. discontinuity. So basically, if my hand was your scalp and all of this was your hair shaft, that's breakage. So what are different types of breakage? The most familiar one and most known is probably split ends. I'll put a picture up of split ends, examples of different types of split ends. Basically, your hair starts to break apart like this or like this, and eventually if it's not cut off, it starts to split up the hair shaft. That weakens the hair shaft and can cause breakage. Another type of breakage is trichoretis nodosa. It's like little gaps. So this is the hole. It's like a gap. It's like holes within your hair shaft, or like little gaps within your hair shaft, and they definitely weaken your hair shaft, and it makes it really easy for your hair to just snap off. Another one is trichoclasis, and that's like, it's like a split end but within the hair shaft instead of at the end. So it's like a crack in your hair, or like a split in your hair shaft. And another type of hair damage, hair breakage, that basically is the root of a lot of breakage, is like mechanical breakage or self-imposed breakage. Why does breakage occur? Breakage usually is rooted from a lack of moisture or mechanical damage, like I just stated previously. The first why, or the first cause that I have on my list, is lack of moisture. Lack of moisture is a really big problem, and it causes a lot of breakage. Dry, brittle hair is more prone to breakage than moisturized hair is, so it's very important to keep your hair moisturized. It's more important to keep your hair moisturized if you have curly, coily, or kinky hair. The kinkier your hair is, the more moisture you need. Another cause of breakage is illness or medical conditions. If you think that you're seeing a lot of breakage because of medical reason, please consult with a doctor. Another reason for breakage is poor dieting or deficiencies, and by deficiencies I mean like vitamin deficiencies, or not having enough protein in your diet, or not drinking enough water, or just not eating healthy altogether. Are they being enough commercials? Got milk. Oh wait, another reason for breakage is stress. Stress can cause a lot of problems to your body, and especially to your hair. It can cause breakage, it can cause hair loss altogether. Another cause of breakage is chemical processing or over processing, like bleaching or dyeing your hair. And the last one I have on my list is basically what I said before, mechanical damage, like aggressive grooming or styling, and also the accessories that you put in your hair, like elastics or rubber bands or anything like that. So it's important not to confuse hair shedding with hair breakage. Hair shedding is natural. You can shed up to 50 to 100 hairs a day, although you probably won't see that much. Like I usually don't see that much, but hair breakage is usually not natural and is usually self-imposed. But it's also important to know the difference between hair shedding and hair loss. If you guys need me to do a video on that, let me know down below. So why does all of this matter? So breakage and length of retention are negatively correlated, meaning the more breakage you have, the less length you'll see, or the less length you'll retain. So people will say that a lot, but I don't know if people get it all the time that it's said. So I'm going to try like to draw it out a little bit, and hopefully it makes sense if it didn't already before. If it did already make sense, I hope you enjoyed my drawing. Now let me know what breakage is, the different types of breakages, why it's important, and what causes it. Let's talk about how to avoid it. And it's kind of a long list, so I'm going to just read straight off my phone. I'm trying to remember this. Okay, so the first one, be gentle when detangling. Be gentle when you're touching your hair in general. It doesn't have to be detangling when you're styling it. Anything in general, because your hair is not afraid to just pop up. Make sure you're using the proper tools. I always say that a Denman brush is not a detangling brush. It is a styling brush. However, nobody can tell you what to do. So, and always make sure that you keep your nails clean cut and smooth. Keep your hair moisturized. And again, the tighter your hair texture, the more moisture you need. Avoid high tension and high stress styles. Definitely a victim of this. I've experienced a lot of breakage because of this, but I'm doing better with it. I will admit that I am doing better with it. So like tight ponytails, like a couple months ago I used to use these to make my ponytails instead of the scrunchies that I use now. You can see in my curly hair routine which ones I use now. But it really does make a difference. Like the more your hair is pulling, the more likely that it can just pop. Try to keep it at a minimum. Also, styling your hair while wet. I'm another victim of that. I still do it to this day. I'm gonna be transparent. It's a hard habit to break. Another thing to avoid is cotton pillowcases and towels. They can snag your hair and dry them out. So that's two things possible that you wanted to avoid. Another important thing is to dust or trim your ends when necessary, especially if you see like single strand knots or all the stuff that I talked about, split ends. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it again. I had it one time, I'm not going to do it again. If it's at the bottom, it's going to cut it off. Like if you see it in the length of your hair, you may not want to cut it off, you may want to, I don't know. I need to trim mine. I'm definitely in need for a trim. Having a healthy routine and a proper balance of moisture and protein. Like if you need more protein, make sure that you're balancing out the moisture. If you need more moisture, make sure you're balancing out the protein. Another important thing, chemical processing and harsh chemicals. So like sulfate shampoos, I'm not going to say stay away from them because I definitely do use sulfate shampoos. Sometimes you need like a good clean, especially when you have like really dirty hair or when you're using a lot of product. Sometimes you do need a good clean. It's not good to use a sulfate shampoo every time you wash your hair, unless you're only washing your hair like once a month. But if you're using a sulfate shampoo every week, your hair is going to get dry, and dryness leads to breakage. As well as bleaching and perming. I'm not going to say not to do it. Well, I'm not going to encourage you to do it, but I'm not going to say not to do it. Just do it the correct way and make sure that you're maintaining it after it's done. And lastly, protect your hair from things that can weaken it. So like direct heat can definitely weaken your hair, and UV radiation can definitely weaken your hair as well. There are several oils with natural SPF, and I will list those somewhere here. However, some of these oils only protect against UVA radiation, but not UVB radiation. UVA radiation is responsible for hair color changes. So if I was to put my ends up to my roots, my ends would look like brown, but my roots would look black because of the sun's radiation. UVB radiation is responsible for hair protein loss, especially keratin. Just be mindful of all these oils and what they actually protect against. I think the one that protects against both of them the most is red raspberry oil, if I remember correctly. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. It's important to remember that prevention is key, because once your hair is broken, it's not much you can do to repair it. Like I don't think it's anything you can do to repair it or fix it. So prevention is really the key to everything. And it's also important to remember that you can't avoid breakage, but you can reduce and minimize it. I hope this was informative. If you want to see more videos like this, please let me know. make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe, and sign up for notifications. Thanks for tuning in for Late Night Talks with Cam.